Members, let's resume. Please be seated. I hope we can come to grips with time. Mr. Alan Leung. Thank you. Chairman. Well, the OALA has come to this stage all because of C.Y. Leung's stance of no bargaining, no negotiation, no concession, no agreement, no amendment. So he is actually at loggerheads with us. It doesn't matter, but then he is sacrificing the interest of our elderly and also students waiting for waiver of fee, an elder waiting for medical vouchers, so that the interest is sacrificed. Now, we have to understand how come we have this motion under Rule 39 and what sort of a motion are we dealing with. Mr. Tam said that we should follow the agenda and we should not allow other items to jump the queue, right? Correct. But 54 and 54A. So according to the PS, paper 54 has been withdrawn and 54A is a new item, Chairman. As regards the other four items on the agenda, they've certainly been put at an earlier position than the new paper. Actually, today is a golden opportunity for C.Y. Leung to take this opportunity to concede 54 and 54A is in fact behind items the civil service pay adjustments, student financial assistance, so on and so forth. Actually, he has missed a graceful step down for his position. Now, C.Y. Leung wants to be a strong governor, a strong leader. He is very arrogant and intransigent, and he has missed this good opportunity to step down gracefully or to concede gracefully, although he has had the opportunity. So on behalf of the Civic Party, I support Mr. Lee Chuk-yen's motion under FCR 39. I like this new item to go to the end of the list, and we deal with the other four items first. Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I will invite the Secretary to respond. Chairman, I'd like to stress that the government has the utmost sincerity, and we've worked very hard in putting forward this proposal. This is already the 7th FCE meeting to deal with this item, and I've stressed time and again that the administration has heard the views of many members. To be pragmatic, we want this proposal to be approved as soon as possible for early implementation. As I said, if approval is granted today, then we will start work as soon as possible, and the first batch of allowance can be handed out to 208,000 elderly persons come next April. Some may say that, well, what's the rush if you're only handing out the cash next April? In fact, if the item is not approved today, we don't have money to recruit people to start the computer programs, so on and so forth. Please don't have the misconception that since our money will only be handed out next April, there is no need to rush. No, this is a misunderstanding. We're pragmatic. We really want members to pass the papers so that we can, in next April, give the allowance to 400,000 elderly persons in the community dating back to December. And we will also review the possibility of enhancing the scheme. As regard universal retirement protection, well, there is a subcommittee under the Bureau to explore this possibility. So we are responding to members' aspirations in a very proactive and positive manner. So I hope that we can adopt a give and take attitude and please be accommodating and pass the paper today. Mr. Lee Chak-yan, you have 3 minutes to respond. Now, Mr. Wong Kok-heng said that some elderlies are in their twilight years, but in fact, on the agenda, there is an item on healthcare vouchers for our elderly persons. Now, if we really care for the elderly, shouldn't we approve the healthcare vouchers so that the elderly persons have money to see a doctor, to consult a doctor? You may say that is the OLA very not important? Now, let me ask you a very pragmatic question. If we continue the discussion of the OALA, do you think it can be passed today? We know full well that it cannot be approved today, and we don't face up to this reality, and we want to defer the handling of remission examination fee remission scheme for the ethnic minorities and also the healthcare voucher pilot scheme. What is the government's intention? Is it just to hold more people hostage and to add to their bargaining chip? I think the government is like throwing a temper tantrum. Is not willing to be pragmatic. Well, being pragmatic is catchphrase of the secretary. Why can't the secretary be pragmatic this time and deal with the remaining items first? If we can approve them, then some of them can proceed at once. The voucher pilot scheme will start on the 1st of January. Now, if we can't deal with that item today, do you think we can pass it next week? Now, if we can't do that on the 1st of January, there will be one item less for implementation. Are you really careless about this? So my motion is a solution to the problem we face here, and that is a deadlock. You may say, some members may say that, well, even if there is a deadlock, we cannot ask the vehicles at the back to go up first. Now, if traffic wardens or the traffic police adopt this attitude, then there can be no solution to our traffic jam. To deal with traffic jam, we will remove the vehicle causing the jam and ask vehicles behind to go up first.
So why can't we do it? We have a very real problem. Let's get a real solution for that real problem. So I appeal to members to support my motion to adjourn. And if that's done, we can move on to other items and more people will stand to benefit. All right, and I put the motion to the vote. That is, committee decides to adjourn the consideration of FCR 2012-2013 54 plus 54A. With those, we'll proceed to a division as requested by some members. So we'll proceed to a division. The division bell will be rung for 5 minutes. Before I announce the results, members, please verify your votes. Voting is now closed and the results are displayed. The result is 28 for, 32 against, 1 abstained. I declare the motion negative. We'll continue with the scrutiny of FCR 2012-13, 54 and 54A. Does any member wish to speak? We have cancelled the previous records. 2 have spoken. Who would like to speak? Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. For the second round. Chairman, sorry, it's 3 minutes for the second round. Mr. Wong Kok Heng asked me to put down the knife and become a Buddha. Well, I don't have the knife. The knife is with the administration. You also asked them to put down the knife, and they said no. They wouldn't do it. I'm a powerless person, and Ms. Priscilla Leung's analogy is most inappropriate. I'm not King Solomon. I don't have the power to chop the child. I would say none should be attacked, and both should live. We should not choose one of the two. Well, if you say they're over 70 and they are cheating you, for how much longer can they cheat you? And you know the additional expenditure is only that much. Well, we are now taken hostage by the so-called CE. If you say we want to provide a service, provide something to the 400,000 elderly persons, what about the rest? Even if we take up the DAB's proposal, it would be a wait of 1 year. So why are you saying that? I'm filibustering because I want the government to withdraw this. DAB says you are going to talk to the administration next year. Of course, although you are very close to C.Y. Leung, I don't trust him. Not that I don't trust you. You all speak so eloquently. Well, I'm not saying that we should not give this allowance to the 400,000 elderly persons. I want to have a longer retrospective period, actually, but the government is saying that it's not going to negotiate. There's no negotiation, no amendment. I know you don't like me. Why don't you give concession to the other parties? The DAB is saying that this can be taken up a year later. Well, I'm not getting in the way of giving an allowance to the elderly. I'm just fighting for those who are over 70. Try telling the elderly that who are over 70 that I cannot give you this. There are 197,000 of them. Try this. Well, I was criticized by some, but also there was people who said I did it right. Ms. Priscilla Leung. I think Mr. Leung Kwok Hong is quite capable of twisting my words. I'm not asking him to be Solomon. And in my speech, I made it very clear that in this council and in the community, there are two groups. There are members, two groups of members who both insist that they are doing for the best of the elderly. If we drag on like this, well, the patience in the community is very, very, very thin. And we have to respect our rules of procedure. That's why I asked Mr. Leung Kwok Hong not to submit any more motions. He's a wise man. He must be quite capable of getting the meaning of my plea. I have never asked him to be Solomon. I think we must genuinely put aside our views, because all 70 of us are thinking that we are doing the best in 70 different ways. So I hope Mr. Leung can stop submitting any more motions so that we can draw things to a close. Because even if we spend 3 more months here, there's no possibility that we can convince each other. And I also appeal to the administration that we should all learn something from this incident. So I want to make this clarification. I was surprised that Mr. Leung Kong claimed that I asked him to be Solomon. Let me repeat, and he should understand me. He should understand what I'm talking about. Mr. Albert Chan. Well, Miss Priscilla Leung is trying to fool herself. Well, Mr. Leung has acted on this. People Power have not chipped in. We have not formally joined the filibustering. And if you are blaming the filibustering here and now, you are sending an invitation to People Power to join. For the express rail item, there was a delay of two hours after moving 30-odd motions. I regret that I did not submit 3,000 motions. If I did, we wouldn't be regretting the tens of billions of dollars, $330 billion on this. And we'll be helping the rich people to come to Hong Kong to watch opera. But it's not actually a high-speed express rail. Mr. C.Y. Leung should be grateful. We filibustered so that his reorganization motion was not carried. If that's carried, there will be more bureau secretary and more scandals. So there were two occasions, one on the express rate. I regret that we did not do enough. And the one on the reorganization of government was actually a wise political decision. Now we have 3 plus 12 lineup, and look at the mess we have and the problems of the director of bureaus. If you have 2 more, 2 plus 2 more, well, you have more to handle. So please exercise some common sense. And I'm not talking about wisdom. Mr. Michael Tin keeps saying that we should approve it for the sake of the elderly recipients. Why don't you look at those who would not get anything if you approve this? There are more than a million of them whose fate depends on what you do. If you get this pass, 1 million elderly persons will not get it. Some people ask me not to approve it, crying while they plead to me. The asset limit is just $180,000. Those elderly people told me that they needed the money for their own funeral. So they asked me not to approve it. And now you are putting up a pretense, and you pretend to be wise and to be on moral high grounds. So if you continue to criticize filibustering like this, you are inviting the People Power to join the exercise. If you want to uphold justice, help the poor, help the people by attacking the government, which collaborates with the business. and we should cancel FCs. Don't talk with empty words. You are depending on the big corporations and the government. Look at the asset, which are ever on the increase, and then by the currying favor to the powerful people, you engage in property speculation. You earn lots of money. Even those in the 30s earn profits of millions of dollars. Why don't you do something to help those living in cubicles? So, Chairman, people power's position is clear. We have to help the elderly and the poor. And if you want filibustering, we stand ready to join. Let me remind members, please do not be so verbose in repeating points already made. I don't know whether other members find this boring. In fact, that the same points are being repeated again and again. Mr. Chan, it's my turn. I want to remind members under FCR 32 that you should not repeat points made already. The mic is not on. Well, I'm not going to repeat anything. Have you ever heard anything coming from me that is repetitive? Mr. Matthew Jones, you are the first one to blame. You are the cause of all this. Of the officials I have met, you are the most obnoxious one, objectionable one. What do you look like? Are you trying to threaten us or threaten the elderly people? You do not do what you can do. For example, what we have proposed, you will not do. You know what to do. You need to reprioritize. The executive is accountable to the legislature. We represent the people. Our job is to provide a check and balance in monitoring the executive. And now you are criticizing members. Well, please understand your position. Members, you are members. You're here to monitor the government. There are so much argument. Well, it's just a tool. The purpose is to monitor what the government's doing. You are the advocate. You are the people's representative. Do I have to give you a lecture? Well, I'm going to publish my new book on exactly the same subject. Who do you represent? Are you representing Mr. Matthew Jones? What are you just asking for this to be approved so that the elderly can get the allowance? Do you represent Matthew Jones or Mr. C.Y. Lau? Or the 689 members of the election committee? Why is that in this council some members criticize some other members for dragging the feet of the administration? Are you in the ruling party? You are not. You think you are, but you are not. If you belong to a ruling party, then you are facing the opposition. You may accuse the opposition for dragging the feet of the administration. That might make sense, but you are elected by the people. Why are you criticizing other members who are equally elected by our people? I think the first and foremost that we should blame is Mr. Matthew Jones. Given our system, you can stay on, whether we like it or not.
I won't use the phrase of Leung Kwok Hong that you should just fold yourself. Mr. Raymond Wong, have you finished? 3 minutes? You forgot to remind me? Is it my second round? Oh, it's my first round. I still have time, but I'm not going to speak. Does any other member wish to speak? Mr. Chiang Lai Wen, Anne. Well, when Mr. Leung Kwok Hong was speaking, what he said was irrelevant to the issue under discussion, and he used foul language to criticize Matthew Cheung. We are legislators. It's really sad that he sunk to that level. Yes, the administration has handled this not poorly. At first, Mr. Matthew Cheung made the proposal hoping that the committee will pass it. Political parties have been giving him our views, but they have not been taken on board. Yeah, this made us unhappy. DAB went to see CS4A, Mrs. Carrie Lam. We had a meeting, we had a discussion. We're all agitated, we're unhappy. We welcome the OALA. We would like it to benefit more people, to have the asset limit relaxed. But the administration refused to budge. We hope that at least the elderly people will get $1,000. The only thing we can do is to accept the administration's proposal. That's all we can do. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong said that we changed tact, we refuse to twist the hand of the administration, and that we should work together. Are you going to force the administration? What else can you do? The only thing you can do is filibuster. And now, because of the filibustering, the elderly people are not getting their $1,000. What better solution do you have, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong? Have you finished, Miss Chang? Yes. Does any other member wish to speak? Yes. I've put up my hand. And you did not. You press. I looked at you twice. You did not raise your hand. So don't say that you'd have. I did. It didn't work. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong speaking for the third time. 2 minutes. Anne Chang is an honest person, and she's talked about the miserable life of DAB. It's even worse than a concubine. I don't like miserable lives. Let me say it once again. Just like Mr. Matthew Cheung said, that the manifesto will have to be realized. Is it the be-all and end-all, the manifesto? You have to be expedient. Why don't you give in to DAB's proposal? Today proves that you are playing politics. You are dividing us. Kill me. I really want to see my mom. Kill me. I have a clear conscience when I see my mom. And my mom will make me a cup of tea. I asked you not to have any means test for people over 70. You gave us the figure. It's affordable. You will have to review the CSSA. And you talk about universal protection, retirement protection. Do you have any long-term thinking? If you have a long-term planning, then you will make concession in small ways. Kill me. I'm fighting for those over 70. Kill me. You're talking about 400,000. What about the others? What about people who only have $200,000 to buy a columbarium, to buy a niche, an earn niche? You don't even give the OALA to them. Does any other member wish to speak? If there are no questions, I will put this item to a vote. Will those in favor of FCR bracket 2012 to 1350A, those in favor, please raise their hands. Those in favor, please raise their hands. We are now voting this item. 5454A. Put your hand up, please. We're counting.
請反對嘅議員舉手。
Those against, please raise their hands.
反對呢個項目嘅請舉手。
Those against, please raise their hands.
冇人要求你有冇數到人先？你數到人咩？響鐘5分鐘啊，記明。
Division is claimed. Please ring the bell for 5 minutes.
大家同事請坐低。
Please be seated.
梁家傑議員。
Mr. Alan Leung. Chairman, I don't really understand. What are you putting to a vote? Because what we're doing now is 54 and 54A, and the logic is that if the FC supports B, then the administration treat it as support for A as well. Otherwise, it will be meaningless. If we just pass B for the $23 million to create 90 non-directorate posts, and if the OALA is not passed, then the 90 posts will be meaningless. So my understanding is that the administration asked to withdraw 54, and now the new paper will be 54 and 54A. So OALA will be submitted to the FC for funding approval. Otherwise, it will be completely meaningless because it will exist in a void. A vote in a void will be meaningless. So I would like to get some clarification as to what exactly is happening. We ask for members' approval. An increase in the ceiling placed on the total notional annual midpoint salary value of all non-directorate posts in the permanent establishment of the Social Welfare Department. In other words, it's Part B. We are asking for funding for approval from the FC. I would like to ask the PS through you that if the OALA is not passed, then is the endorsement of B meaningful? PS. So when you approve Part B, it or otherwise, it shows your indication for A as well. Yes. Well, that's my understanding. Exactly what I've said. If that is the case, then why would you simply put it to a vote? I don't understand. I have asked twice. If any member wishes to speak, when I saw that no member wished to speak, I repeated that if there were no members who have questions, I put that to a vote. And I made it clear that it was in support those in favor of FCR bracket 2012 to 13, 50 and 54. And I also asked those who are against to raise their hands. And then I saw people talking, and then and it was a claim for division. I made it clear, but I have amendments. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, if you listen to the recording, when when the decision was made with the submission of paper 54 and 54A, it had a bearing. I didn't think that the 54A was simply an explanation at that time. When I made the decision, I made it clear what I was going to do. Before I made the decision, I explained what I was going to do. And 54 is to be withdrawn, and it was. The new paper is 54 plus 54A. Let me listen to me. You didn't hear me clearly because you speak when I am speaking. And the administration asked for me to waive the short notice, and I did. And then we discussed the papers. It was Section 39, and it was voted down. Rule 39, and then it was voted down. And then we went into the discussion of the FCR bracket 2012 to 1354. And when I was talking about the new submission, I said it twice. 37A and the 100 or so, altogether 300 or so, there is no need to have a discussion because we're talking about a new paper. But I have submitted new amendments to you. But I have put it to a vote, and the bell has rung for 5 minutes. Chairman, there is no need for any meetings in the future because I can tell you that we cannot have meetings anymore. You can't do it this way. You don't even know when at the time, even the pro-establishment did not know what they are voting for. I have submitted the amendments to you. They are 37A. That was before the meeting was convened. But then, does your clerk know? Well, I have my whole team here. You're helping the administration. No, don't target the secretariat. I've said it twice. You can listen to the recording. It was chaotic. No, it wasn't chaotic. I believe you were here, and I explained that since it is a new document, there is no need to deal with your 130 or so plus the 180 or so amendments, because we're dealing with a new document. It will start afresh. I have done it the proper way. You did not hear me, or you went to the toilet. I couldn't help you. But I asked you. I asked what you're putting it to, what you put to a vote. I have said it. I read it from the script that if there are no questions, I will put this to a vote. Those in favor of FCR bracket 2012 to 1354 and 54A, please raise their hands. I said it. I said it more than once. And now you asked. You asked me what is being put to the vote. But the loyalists didn't know either. 5 minutes is up. Please check. It's a point of order. Point of order. Who said that? Here. Dr. Fernando Cheung. Well, according to what you said, we have to vote, and if it is passed, we approve the administration to recruit dozens of non-directorate civil servants to start the OALA. And according to the administration, sorry, Dr. Cheung, what is the point of order? You're talking about the paper, not the order. Well, if we pass this item in April, or when we vote in March for the budget, if the budget is not carried, it's a possibility, because there is always a possibility that the budget is not endorsed. Then the decision today will be problematic, right? Dr. Cheung, this is not a point of order. This is an hypothetical question. Well, I will announce that you need to check your vote. Mr. Alan Leung, I asked a question. You did not answer me. If we vote for B to approve the $23 million to for 90 non-directorate posts, we don't know what they are created for. We don't know the meaning of this vote. I'd like to ask the legal advisor, is it meaningful? Legal advisor. Well, whether it is meaningful, but when the administration explained, when they submit the supplementary paper, they have made a statement, and they have the duty to explain and convince members to support their proposal. And Chairman, you have clearly put this item to a vote, and you have completed the stage of asking questions. Sorry, a point of order. Sorry, I can't hear you. I now announce. I made an announcement to ask you to check your votes. Dr. Cheung, if this is passed, then there is a legal effect. You are repeating your question, so I would like to get some advice from the legal advisor. And if this is passed, and if the budget is not endorsed, then the relevant what problem will there be in relation to the funding approval?
Well, I'll put this question to the legal advisor because this is a hypothetical question. It is not relevant to our agenda, and you should not be in the way of my announcing the results. Legal advisor. Mr. Kwok Hong, I gave you a motion. I gave you my motions. If this is approved today, you won't be able to get funding approval in the future. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, please be seated or please leave this chamber. Will the PS tell him? Won't the PS tell him? What were we supposed to vote on? Leung Kwok-hong, please be seated.
梁繼昌議員，我想
I like to seek clarification. Now, if the motion is passed, that is, if B is passed, does that mean that we are in favor of the OALA? So is it that funding approval has been granted? Well, we have been meeting for over 2.5 hours. Please give me an answer. There is no need for me to answer. Why? Because I want the administration or you to answer me first.
唔係一個規條嘅問題。
This has nothing to do with the order. This is not a point of order because you did not tell us the motion clearly. I'd like to ask whether this will include the OALA. No, I read out the motion very clearly. You were not here to listen to me. Please do not criticize me. All right, Chairman. Members, I now announce the results. I would like to listen to the tape recording. I must listen to what you said. I ask for meeting to be adjourned. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, if you like to listen to the sound recording, you can always do that. If you don't like my ruling, you can always seek a judicial review or you can move a motion of no confidence. This is something you are entitled to do. Before I announce the results, please verify your votes. Please check your votes. Voting is closed. I now display the results. Voting results: 24 yes, 3 no, 3 abstentions. I declare the motion passed. Next item. FCR 2012-13 56. This item seeks the Financial Committee's approval to approve with effect from the 1st of April 2012 an increase in pay by 5.66% for judges and judicial officers, and B, note the financial implications of about $16.143 million in 2012-13 arising from item A above. The administration wing of the Office of the CFO consulted the HLS panel on the 30th of October 2012 to answer members' questions. Please, members, wait in a meeting. If members want to stay for this meeting, please be seated. To answer members' questions, we have the following officials in attendance. Mr. Kitty Choi, Director of Administration. Mr. Howard Lee, Assistant. Now, I like to launch a formal protest. You are all here to cheat the people of Hong Kong. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, we're in the middle of a meeting. Please be seated. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, please be seated. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, if you continue in this manner, I'll have to ask you to leave. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, please leave the meeting room. You are here colluding with the with those in power. The meeting is adjourned for 5 minutes.